everyone, it's me again. So I have my last hand stitching project and then I will be moving on to a little stitch witchery to fix a hole, and I think that my last tutorial for this week is actually going to be a few different ways to make unpaper towels. So some sewing, some not so much sewing, because not everybody likes to sew. And I have some machines that you might have, but if you don't, then I want to give you some other ideas because, you know, my daughter, I have a daughter who's 22 and she's going to school right now for environmental science and sustainability. We're really proud of her and she's really excited about it. And she pointed out to me that a lot of people who are really into sustainability and really love this kind of stuff and want to do this, they might not necessarily know how to sew. So I was like, wow, that's a good point. I should come up with some ideas that, you know, if you don't know how to sew, you can still actually do some of this stuff, because why not? I mean, clearly we should all be able to do what we can, and we've got some cute ideas coming up. So this is my skirt. I showed this before in my intro to mending. This is my cute Michael Kors. Like, tell me that's not the cutest skirt. I wear it all the time. But I drive a Explorer, which is a like a small SUV. And God love Ford, because, you know, I love my Ford cars. I'm sure this is going to make me get all kinds of comments about Ford. But at any rate, it doesn't have a running board. They decided to get rid of the running board. And I am not even 5'4". I'm just under. And I'm just going to tell you that unless you're like 5'7", you really can't get into that car without like really tilting and doing weird stuff. And if you happen to be wearing a skirt and heels, you are likely to, especially like a slender cut skirt, you're likely to have a really hard time. So the inside of my lining tore. It tore on the seam. It's not a big deal. It does happen sometimes. It did not come this way, by the way. It came from Stitch Fix in perfect condition. Like, I actually think the skirt might have had the tags on it, and it was like absurdly like reasonable. You don't even want to know what I spent for this super, super cute designer skirt. So I'm simply saying check out ThreadUp as a alternative to buying new clothes all the time, and you will be glad you did. So when you are sewing a seam, you want to line it up. So I'm going to flip this inside out. That's going to be easier actually. So see, cute little coral inside fabric. Now I want to line this up so that the seams all lay flat to each other. And then I'm going to go ahead and bring this over so that I can sew it. So now I am actually not going to use a matching thread for this. This is the other way. I'm not going to use a matching thread. I'm going to go ahead and use a different colored thread because it's on the inside. And then I think it'll be a little easier for you to see what I'm doing. This whole trying to let you see what I'm doing thing while I'm videotaping has been challenging, so this might make it easier. So again, we have our needle threader. See that? This looks like it's metal, but it's not, y'all. It's not. It's like some weird, like it's bendy actually. You can, you know. But anyways, this little thing is metal, but it won't get picked up by my magnet thing, just so you know. So you put your needle right, you put the little, you're going to put the little metal thing through the needle. It's pretty easy to do because it is not flexible, so it's easier to put through there than the thread. Check that out. Getting a weird glare from my light too. And then I have this like crazy colored thread. So, and we're going to double the thread again, because if you double the thread, then you don't have to go through the stitches as much. So I'm going to put the thread right through the metal loop, if you can see that, and pull it. So, see, there you go. You've got your thread and your needle both through there. Now what you do is you take your needle off of the loop and down the thread. And see, it's threaded. Check that out. And pull that little end off of the threader. And now I said before, I like to start with a piece that is no longer than my arm. And I know I'll need a piece that long. So just hold it, measure it, and then I'm going to go ahead and tie it. So I wrapped around my fingers. And then I like to do 2 fingers, y'all, because if I wrap it around 2 fingers, then it's easy for me to put the needle through between the 2 fingers. See that? And then I just take my fingers out and pull it, and I've got a nice little loop. All right. Now I cut it. Because, you know, you don't actually want your spool of thread attached. All right. So there's that. Now, I'm going to lay this flat again. And so I want this inside. And what I'm going to do is go ahead and pick up. So I'm just going to grab a little piece, see? And then I'm going to pull through, but not all the way. When I get to the end here, I'm going to go ahead and tie it, just like you would a shoelace. So I'm going to make the loop and put the needle through it and pull it tight. And I'm going to do it again. And the reason I'm doing this is just to secure the thread, okay? So now that I have that, I am going to go ahead and go to the other side, which is the other side of the seam, and just pick up a small piece, okay, and then pull it together. And I'm going to continue to do that. So essentially, and really, I want to do it this way so that it will, so that I'm going downward, because I'm trying to stitch from this spot down to the bottom, okay? And you can see that when you do this, you can see the blue thread right there. See, and you can see the stitch. But when you pull it tight, you can't. It tucks underneath. So really you wouldn't see the thread anyways. Not that I would care on the inside of my garment. I don't really care. So you're just going to keep going down and picking up small bits on either side. So the side closest to me, and then directly across from it on the other side. Okay, and this is how, I think that this is a running whip stitch, but I'm not sure, y'all. Don't quote me on that because I don't actually know the names of the stitches anymore. I took a sewing class in high school. No, it was not required. I am actually a Gen Xer, so like millennials, we didn't have a lot of requirements for home ec and finance and stuff like that. So, but I had some room in my schedule to take it. I took college prep, but I did have some, like one, it's like that fine arts credit. I took band for a couple of years, but I actually also took both sewing and foods. And I really enjoyed them. I had this amazing teacher. Her name was Miss Pitkoff. So if she's out there somewhere watching me massacre sewing tutorials, this is not how she taught me to do this, but we did it on a machine. So I wanted to show you how to do it by hand in case you don't have a machine. So if you are thinking though, like, I might want a sewing machine, I might want to try some of these other tutorials that she has on her site, I will go ahead and put a good starter sewing machine on my products I love list. So, and it's going to, I can tell you right now, it's not going to do a lot. It'll do like straight stitching and stuff like that. But it'll be a great brand, and you can get any sewing machine in that brand. You don't have to get it off of my blog. If you do, I appreciate that. But if you do, you can also wait until, because we're coming up on like Cyber Monday and Black Friday and all that good jazz. Or you can look in your paper A lot of times in the Sunday paper, they have, or online, you can go to michaelscoupons.com or Joanne's Coupons. Anyways, they'll have coupons sometimes for like 40% off one item. That's a great way to buy something big like a sewing machine. But you can actually get a sewing machine for like $100. So, and am I saying that like I want you to spend $100 on a sewing machine? No. But I am saying that a sewing machine, like a starter sewing machine, can be a really great gift for somebody who is interested in crafting. They come in handy for like, I mean, so many different crafts. That is not a sewing machine that's going to do something like embroidery or anything like that, but it will do stuff like simple stitching, zigzag stitching stuff like that. Like you could make a whole garment with a sewing machine like that. Aside from potentially, I might have a hard time making a garment that you need to make buttonholes. I don't know if that machine would have a buttonhole maker. But at any rate, point is, I highly recommend sewing machines as gifts. I highly recommend sewing machines as a thing to have, an appliance. Like before you buy an ice cream maker, get yourself a sewing machine for real. I mean, if I had to choose, like now, if I was like going, what do you really need? I would say a hand mixer, a tiny, like a little small, I like the little chopper food processor, and I mean, I just can't say enough about a good quality blender. I use them a lot, but I don't eat dairy. I have a dairy allergy, so I have to use my blender to grind nuts a lot. And if you use your blender to make like cashew cream sauces and things like that, you really need a blender that can handle grinding nuts to the point where they're really fine. So as you can see, I'm just going down, okay, and I'm sewing, and you cannot, now you can't even see the stitches. So if I pull it apart, see, you can see that now. Then you can see the blue right in there. Okay, so I'm just going from one side to the other, back and forth, and I'm doing it so that it tucks underneath, okay? So that way this goes to here. Got it? And then that way it closes up. It's fine. I'm sure I'm not getting rid of my car anytime soon. I'm probably going to tear this again. But I just thought, well, this is a really great way to show you how to do a tear on a seam. You can do this really with anything. The big key is, see how this is fraying right here? So you really, when you connect to there, you want to get past that frayed part over here. Because if you don't, it's going to fray your own stitches right out. So you just want to get kind of past that frayed part when you're coming over to pick up on the other side. And that's the big thing. You can do this like literally with anything. If you have jeans that have torn or worn a hole in them, whatever, anytime that you're on the seam, you can pretty easily do what I'm doing right now and not have any trouble whatsoever. So when you get to the end, you're just going to tie it off. It's not super hard. I'm going to kind of speed this along so I can get to the end here for you. And we'll just keep making small talk. So anyways, what I was saying though is you want to have a little sewing kit at least. If you want a sewing machine, you can get a starter sewing machine. They're not that expensive. Like I said, you can get one usually for like $100 or less. And I'm talking about like a Singer. I always recommend Singer sewing machines. My grandma, my grandma's 87, so she's still with us, and I just love spending time with her. She still has her mother's sewing machine that was given to her for her wedding, and it is the second year that Singer had electric models out. I want to say it's from 1920 something. Anyways, and let me just tell you, that bad boy still works. She still sews with it. Everyone repairs them, so that's nice. Like if a light bulb goes or something like that, like she can actually still get the light bulbs from this 1920 something sewing machine. And if you guys are curious at all, I will look it up, like when this machine came out. It came in a table, because they used to have them in the tables with the rocker arm. Actually, oh, check this out. I collect this kind of stuff. So that's the kind of table they used to come in, like that. But now, but then they started coming in tables that didn't, they just had a foot on the bottom, like for electricity. So it still came in the table though. So it is metal. The whole thing's made of metal and it works like a charm. So I always recommend Singer sewing machines. I think that they're a great deal. You can also find them a lot of times on eBay for a pretty sweet smoking deal, because a lot of times people will inherit them, and if they don't sew, they don't know what to do with them, and oftentimes you can get one and you can clean it up or take it to any sewing machine and vacuum repair place. So sewing machine and vacuum repair places are actually weirdly more common than you would think they are. If you Google them, you probably have one within, if you're in any kind of city, you probably have one within about 10 minutes of your house. It's super strange because it seems like an old fashioned thing. It feels to me like I'm saying there's a shoe repair person nearby. And by the way, there probably is a shoe repair person nearby too. You just probably don't know it, and most shoes are not made well enough to take them to a repair person. But by all means, if you've got a great pair of shoes, you can actually have them repaired, and you should. So that's a whole nother talk that we can have about, why are things so dang disposable nowadays? So, yeah, but for sure you can get those kinds of things repaired, sewing machines, things like that you buy secondhand, you can get repaired. So, but look for a good brand. Singer is a great brand. The other really good brand is Brother. So either of those, you can usually have them repaired and very easily, and not have any issues with it. And most people do those repairs, so that's easy. As far as, and also I highly recommend that if you have a place near you that repairs sewing machines, they also usually do vacuum cleaners. Go there and ask them for a really good quality vacuum cleaner, because I have a vacuum cleaner I haven't replaced in 17 years, and most people replace their vacuums every 2 years. So spend the money, get a good vacuum, and don't replace it. That's the way to go. As soon as you can, you can't do everything at one time. So when you can, it's a worthwhile investment to just spend a little more money on a vacuum and not have to replace it. Okay, so I'm to the end now, and all I'm going to do is go through. See, I've got my little loop here I just made, and I'm going to bring my needle through the loop like so, and just let that go, and that's going to help me form a knot, and then I'm going to twist it and do another knot. Now, I have a nice fresh seam in this, and I'm sure as soon as I get in my car next time, I am going to rip it out. I don't want to, but I bet I will. But see that? You can barely even see it. You can see that it's puckered a little, and that's just because I had to pull it over because of the thread. So that's all set. And if you have any questions about stitching, sewing machines, appliances, I recommend any of that stuff, you know that you can leave a comment here. You can leave a comment on my blog. You can hit me up on social media. So I am on Facebook at Upcycled Adulting. So it's facebook.com/Upcycled Adulting, Instagram .com/Upcycled Adulting, Twitter, Upcycled Adultin, no G, because, Twitter has that restriction. So on the number of characters. So it's Upcycled Adultin. And then I am on Pinterest, Upcycled Adulting, and YouTube. So, which is where you are right now. So anytime that you have questions for me or anything else, you just go ahead and comment or send me an email. I'm at upcycledadulting@gmail.com. So super easy. And I am super down with answering your questions. So far, I've responded 100% of the time. And I do get a lot of questions and comments and things like that. And I always make it a point to respond, because the whole reason I'm doing this is to help you. And so I hope I can, and I hope you've enjoyed today's tutorial. I will see you in a little while. Bye.